Ever feel like you're drowning in a sea of choices? Like, which way do I even go?
Happens all the time.
Today, we're diving deep into particle swarm optimization.
PSO.
PSO. It's an algorithm that helps sift through tons of possibilities to find the best solution.
The absolute best. What's so cool about PSO is that it's inspired by nature. Like, think about birds.
Okay.
Bees, schools of fish.
I'm picturing it.
Imagine a flock of birds, right?
Yeah.
And they're all trying to find, like, the best food source.
Okay, so they're all chirping, sharing, like, which direction to go in, learning from each other.
Exactly. Our source for this deep dive is How Particle Swarm Optimization Works, a step-by-step guide, and it's by Market Brew.
Okay.
They actually use this for SEO.
Interesting. So it's not just birds finding lunch?
No, not at all. It's applicable to a whole bunch of things. Basically, in a nutshell, it's a type of algorithm, a set of rules, really, for tackling these really hard problems, like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Okay.
And so you can think about it like you're trying to find the best route on a road trip, and there's endless possibilities.
Gotcha. So instead of me getting lost down all the back roads, it helps me find the best path without the headache.
Precisely.
I like where this is going.
And what makes it special, I think, is that it's really inspired by nature, by how swarms in nature behave. So each bird in a flock, you can think of it like representing a possible solution.
Okay.
And they're all exploring different options, but they're sharing information about what they found.
Wait, so each bird is like a mini Waze app?
Right.
Like they're all sending each other traffic updates?
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
Like each bird remembers the best path that it's found.
Okay.
It's called its personal best.
Got it.
And it learns about the best path found by any bird in the flock. And that's called the global best.
Oh, so it's like they're all working together to create the ultimate, like, shortcut map.
Yes.
That's really cool. But how does this compare to other ways of solving problems? Like, is it that different from me being, like, meticulous with my highlighter on a map, planning a road trip?
It's a great question. Your highlighter approach, using a map is kind of like another algorithm called gradient descent.
Okay.
Which is very precise. It follows the path of least resistance.
Okay.
But you might miss a really scenic route because of that.
Because I'm so focused on the route, I might miss out on, like, the happy accident, the hidden gem.
Exactly. So PSO, on the other hand, is more like sending out a flock of birds to explore all the possible routes, even those off the beaten path.
Okay.
It's less about, like, rigid planning and more about exploration, adapting as you go.
So it's like PSO is the adventurous, free-spirited friend, and then gradient descent is the meticulous planner. What about other methods? Like, you hear about genetic algorithms. Are they similar?
Yeah, they are related. They are related, but PSO has kind of a unique edge.
Okay.
The Market Brew paper, they point out that PSO is really good for problems where the solutions can be continuously adjusted, like fine-tuning a recipe for the perfect taste or optimizing the aerodynamics of, like, a race car.
So if I'm trying to create the ultimate chocolate chip cookie recipe, this would be my secret weapon.
Precisely. It thrives on those tiny tweaks.
Okay.
Whereas genetic algorithms, they're better for, like, distinct choices.
Gotcha.
Like picking the best outfit from your closet.
Okay.
But let's dig a bit deeper into what makes PSO tick.
Okay, so we've got our adventurous flock of birds, each one a possible solution. But what tells them where to go? Like, what are the actual, like, I don't know, dials and knobs that control this whole process?
Yeah, that's where the parameters of PSO come in.
Okay.
And really, those are just the settings that kind of influence how the algorithm searches.
Okay.
The Market Brew paper, they highlight a few key ones.
Okay.
Starting with the number of particles, or in our analogy, the birds in the flock.
So more birds is like a wider search area, more like ground covered.
Exactly. More particles mean a more comprehensive search. However, too many birds, it's like a real flock. It can get chaotic.
Right, like a crowded party where you can't even hear yourself think.
Precisely. And it can actually make it harder to zero in on that one best solution.
Because they're all going in different directions. So it's about finding that right balance.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
And another big one is velocity.
Okay.
And that basically dictates how quickly each particle explores its options.
Okay, so like if a bird's flying too fast, it might miss out on something good.
Precisely. Imagine, a bird flying too fast.
Yeah.
They might miss a hidden valley that has just this abundance of food.
Right.
But then again, a bird moving too slowly, it might take forever to actually find anything.
So it's a balance between, like, how much you explore and how fast you're doing it.
Exactly.
Are there any other, like, I guess, birdie behaviors that we can think about that influence how this works?
Yeah, absolutely. Remember we were talking about personal best and global best?
Yes.
So that's like really vital to the social learning aspect of this whole thing. So each bird remembers its own best solution
Right.
and shares that information with the flock.
Okay.
So over time, they all gravitate towards, the areas that seem most promising.
So they're kind of creating like a map as they go, and they're all learning from each other's experiences.
Exactly. That's a key reason why it's so effective.
Mm.
It combines the individual exploration with this, like collective learning.
That's really cool. It's like the flock develops its own intelligence, over time.
Yeah, exactly.
This is all starting to click now. But let's not forget Market Brew, the folks behind our paper here. They use this for SEO. That seems like a very practical use of this whole bird flock, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it highlights a key strength of PSO,
Mm-hmm.
its ability to deal with what are called continuous problems.
Okay.
So in SEO, that basically means that it can adjust all those little factors that influence a website's ranking, and it does it with incredible precision.
Oh, wow.
So think about, the keywords, the backlinks, the content
And it's
quality.
still a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, PSO can adjust all of those continuously. It's like tweaking a really complex recipe until you get it just right.
So it's like instead of making big changes, you're making these tiny little adjustments to get that perfect ranking.
Exactly. And that's kind of where it differs from, say, a genetic algorithm, which is better for making choices between different options.
Okay.
PSO is great for when you need to navigate a bunch of possibilities, constantly making things better.
This is making a lot more sense now. But before we get too carried away with optimization, are there any downsides? I mean, even
Yeah.
the smartest birds can run into a wall. It's true. Are there any downsides to this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no algorithm's perfect, right?
Right.
One thing that the Market Brew paper talks about is that PSO can be kind of sensitive to where those particles start.
Okay, so like if you release the birds in a desert, they're not going to have much luck finding food, even if they're like talking to each other.
Exactly. Bad starting position, you're going to get worse results. It's
Yeah.
like trying to find the highest mountain, but you start your search in a valley.
That makes sense. Okay, so what else? Any other things to watch out for?
Another one is that PSO, like the basic version of it, it doesn't deal with constraints very well.
Constraints.
Like imagine those birds searching for food, but this time they're in a library.
Okay.
You need extra rules
Yeah.
to keep them from, knocking over books or being too loud.
Right, so it needs some boundaries to work in the real world.
Exactly.
Like you got to tell the birds to like stay away from the cake shop, even if it smells amazing.
Right.
But it sounds like these Market Brew folks, they've figured out how to make it work for SEO. What other like real world stuff can you use this for besides tricking birds?
Well, that's the thing. It's not just about SEO.
Right.
The Market Brew paper, they give this really cool example of how they use it to personalize your search results.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So like when I'm searching for, I don't know, the best pizza at 2 a.m., it's helping me find the good stuff.
Exactly. It's fine-tuning those algorithms that decide what websites show up at the top.
Wow.
It's like those birds are trained to find what's most interesting and useful for you.
So it's like curating my entire online experience.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like one tiny example. PSO could change a lot of things. Like imagine optimizing traffic in a city,
Oh, wow.
personalizing education, or even like designing better renewable energy systems.
So it's like PSO is showing us this future where, we can solve all sorts of problems, traffic, climate change, all with the brain power of a bird.
Exactly. And it makes you think, right? As these algorithms get smarter, how will they change how we make decisions, how we solve problems, how we just like live our lives?
It's pretty mind-blowing. A huge thank you to our expert for guiding us through this.
Of course.
And to all you deep divers out there, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on our next adventure into the world of knowledge.